We're going to check in with Norma Holland now. She's at Artisan Interiors in Rochester this morning,
where they're doing some very important work on some very important chairs.
Yeah, very important indeed, because the chair you're looking at used to be at the Eastman Theater. And as we all know, the Eastman is undergoing a major renovation to be opened again in October under the name Kodak Hall. And Guy DiMatteo from Artisan Interior Services was contracted to fix, he and his team here, all the craftsmen, to fix more than 500 chairs, just like that one. And that's the chair when it's all stripped down, when all the upholstery is gone, all the varnish is gone. And we're in the workshop this morning on Mount Read Boulevard. Guy, take us through the steps. So when you strip everything off and you get down to the bare bones, what do you do next?
Well, actually, there's several steps to getting the color and finish on the chair.
That's what Bruce is working on right
exactly.
over here, right?
Well,
let's come over here, actually, if you don't mind. If I can have you come over here. Yeah.
Actually, the next step after the chair has been sanded and prepared is it gets an initial stain which is sprayed on the chair. That stain is then sealed in, and this is the point at which Bruce is now doing his work. He's applying a glaze coat, which is another type of stain, and that really gives these chairs a very rich depth and an antique quality, which duplicates
what was
the original
in the theater,
finish.
yeah, when George Eastman was alive. So, and that's what you want, that look.
You want them to look like they've been around a while.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. So the imperfection is perfection, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
This is great. I'll tell you, you guys, this stuff smells so strong. Bruce, how do you do this for the whole day?
I'm used to it. I've been doing it a long time. You have to get used to it.
Yeah, it is pretty strong. You know, some of the chairs, it is. It's part of the job, and you're doing a great job. You know, some of these chairs come in and they're a little in disrepair, and that's where Eric comes in. Eric, what are you doing here?
Repairing this leg.
Okay.
It had a crack at this area in here. So I had to cut it down to be able to drill a pilot hole up into this upper section, as you can see where I've done here.
It's very involved. It's not just like putting on another leg. You just don't slap on a leg and say it's done.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it has to be in the hands of someone who understands it. It takes experience. You have to have experience to do it. Without it, it does not come out correctly.
Yeah, and look at the tools, you guys. I was noticing Eric's tools here. I was expecting like something really big and fancy, but you know what? Look at this stuff. He's got a pencil. He's got a dowel. He's got a drill. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff, right? But that stuff stands the test of time.
Well, it all comes down in how you use it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the whole skill.
Well, that's why they hired you, because you know what to do with all of this stuff. Coming up, we're going to show you the upholstery work and how that's done, because that's really what makes these chairs look, it finishes them up, right?
Absolutely. That's another entire aspect to the work.
And you've got a very special chair you're going to show us, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, very special. The chair that George Eastman sat in himself from all those years between 1921 until his death. So we're going to get a chance to see that chair and how they're renovating it when we come back.
Yeah, no pressure renovating that chair.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Holland is at Artisan Interiors. That's in Rochester. She's there this morning because of the work they're doing on these chairs. Hey, Norma.
And Norma, is one of those chairs George Eastman's chair? I heard you mention something earlier.
I know you've been waiting to see which one it is. These are the finished chairs before the upholstery is put on the chair. And I know you've been waiting and waiting. Which is George Eastman's chair? We're going to show you in just a moment. And here it is. Ta-da! That's it right there. Guy DiMatteo, we're at Artisan Interiors this morning. Guy, this is the chair, and you know it's the chair for several reasons. The first of which is this little plaque here. It says, this chair was occupied by Mr. Eastman from 1921 when this theater was opened until his death in 1932.
That's correct. And you can see just visually it is different from the other chairs in some ways.
Yeah.
There's more details. There's more carving. The cane is actually a tighter weave cane than the other chairs.
So it was special for him.
Out.
Yeah.
Yep.
This chair is going to be restored along with the others, and when the chair is done, this is what it will look like. And these chairs have springs on them. They're a different color, right?
Oh yeah. A lot of thought went into the selection of fabric. That was done by a team of people, and I think Audette's was involved in that.
Yeah, it's incredible when you look at the difference now. They still look elegant, but there is definitely a modern look to them, right? Yeah. Definitely, you can see that. Okay, well, here, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Reno Petrucci. Come over here, Reno. Reno is the singing upholsterer. I'm just kidding. Reno, you're one of the few people that knows how to fix these chairs, and you do the upholstery, right?
Yes. I do the upholstery, and we started with.
That was the original springs.
The original springs.
Do they make these anymore like this?
They don't make anymore. They make those units, but not like that anymore.
Yeah, so these are really old. Look at that.
What we do, we're going to clean it up, and then we put a cotton burlap, and the end will be just like this.
Look at that. Using the original pieces.
Use the original piece.
Again, it's the devil's in the details, because so much of his work, the piping that goes around this on the outside.
Yeah.
Outside, yes.
It's a lot of craftsmanship there that to the eye looks simple.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not simple, but it's.
Look at that. That's incredible. So this chair, and then, of course, these are the row of chairs that when they're done, this is what they're going to look like. Now, I had to ask you earlier about George Eastman's chair. I said, can you still sit in it? And you said, and you kind of showed me why, right?
Well, yeah, it's been left in its more or less original condition. I'm not sure if they allowed people to sit in it at the theater, but an interesting aspect of it was...
Yeah, you got to see this. Look at
the fact that back in the day, everyone wore a hat.
Yeah.
So all the chairs at one point had this little rack, and when you got to the theater, you would be able to put your hat right under the seat.
Look at that, old world details, and you've preserved most of them, and that's the great thing about these chairs.
We tried to.
Yeah, the theater is going to be reopening in October, so some of these chairs aren't going to be ready in time, but they will be done by the first of the year. And coming up on CW16, we're going to show you more of how they do this process when it comes to the caning. I was wondering why they've got that caning on the side of the chairs. There's a very specific reason why.
Oh, really?
George Eastman, he thought of everything.
Yeah?
He thought of everything, and we'll explain coming up.
So educational. Thanks, Norma.
Hey, yeah.
You're welcome.
Now I want to know why they have the canes on the side, the caning on the side of the chairs.
We'll find out.
I want to know now. I can't wait.
Gotta wait. Gotta tune in, Doug, to CW16 and Digital 13.2.
I promise to be here. Norma Holland is talking about what's next for these chairs after they're restored. They're heading to the Eastman Theater, the new Eastman Theater. Hey, Norma.
Good morning, Doug. Yeah, these are the new chairs. They have to be upholstered, reupholstered, and that's where Reno comes in. Reno, how do you say your last name? Petrucci. That's right. Okay, earlier I promised to tell you why these chairs have that caning on the side. Why don't you show us, Guy? This is what the caning looks like, the new caning, right? Sure. A lot of these chairs came to you. Look at this hole. This is big. That's a big hole in there, right?
Right. The process is to remove the existing cane that's damaged and then replace it with what's a machine-made caning. And then how this is applied is once you've removed all of the old material, then this is applied with a technique where it's pretty complicated. And then this is what holds it in place, which is the spline.
Okay.
It's all glued in place, so it takes a while.
Guy, I was asking you earlier why they included the caning on the chair, because technically they didn't have to, but it was for a very specific reason.
Well, at that time, the thought process was you needed ventilation. You get a lot of bodies in close proximity, and so it really had a function. It wasn't just, but then the other side was aesthetically, it's also very attractive. When you look at the completed chairs, you can see it really adds a lot of character.
But mostly it was because there's a lot of people up in that theater.
I think it was certainly a big consideration, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they had like 3,000 seats and in its heyday, so a lot of bodies, and they needed some way for that hot air to kind of get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's form and function too.
I think so, yep.
Okay, now, that's the thing with these chairs. They're all going to be renovated, brought to the theater, probably by the beginning of the year and installed. Now, when we say the seats, we're talking about the mezzanine and the loge, right? Not the main floor seats. Those are different, aren't they?
They are. They've all been removed at this point, and there's new seating being fabricated. I can't tell you exactly where. It'll be a different type of seating. I'm not exactly sure what it'll look like. Probably more of a stadium seating.
Yeah, but these chairs are very comfortable, and George Eastman had it right. He wanted his chair, of course, to be very comfortable. This is his very chair. Number 48 is the number on his chair. When you refurbish this chair, are you going to keep this? Are you going to put the plaque back on it?
That's for others to decide exactly how they want to display it, but I'm sure that's part of the consideration. I think with George's chair, they're keeping as original as possible, including the hat rack, which is on the bottom. Right here. Anything that would identify that particular chair.
Yeah, this is a very special chair, and it will go right back in the theater. That's it from Artisan Interiors.